Calling Herman Mashaba's time as Johannesburg mayor controversial would be an understatement. After only 3 years in office, the Black Like Me business tycoon is leaving the Johannesburg City Council, with some harsh words for his critics, especially within the DA, the party that brought him to power.
They can go to hell. I got into this job to serve our people, not serve political parties.
Mashaba secured the mayoral seat, with the DA taking just 38% of the vote in Johannesburg during the 2016 local government elections. They relied heavily on smaller parties to dislodge the ANC from power in the City of Gold. And he says the greatest challenge in his job didn't come from the former governing party.
From day one, DA and I were on a confrontational route. This matter did not just really happen with the election of LNC. I warned them about it because I knew what they were planning to do. But DA, some people in the DA were not supportive of my pro-poor stance from day one.
Setting up a governing arrangement with 7 other parties and relying heavily on the EFF, Mashaba admits he didn't always toe the party line when it came to directives from the DA.
If ever my views are in line with EFF policies, let it be. But I would not want to associate with people who don't care about poor people. That is for that reason I decided to really move away from such parties that believes that poor people are not the agenda.
But what does Herman Mashaba have to show after 1,000 days of service? For him, the numbers do the talking.
32 billion rands of investment managed in just over 2 years. I think quite great. Creating just over 12,000 jobs, creating over 6,000 housing units for our poor residents, our students, and small business community. But I think look at it from a broader point of view. We've managed to move our investment in infrastructure from the previous government from 58% to 71%.
Even though Mashaba claims the numbers show he improved service delivery, his partners, his opponents, and analysts argue otherwise.
We don't see any real impact that Mashaba has made.
Look at the things that he sees as an achievement for himself. Those are EFF motions that have managed to be on the forefront of service delivery within the City of Johannesburg.
It's quite peculiar because, there's a very widespread reputation that he was a superb leader who really fixed the city up. And there's absolutely no evidence to support this at all.
So let's look at his record, starting with the mayor's claims about bringing back law and order to Johannesburg.
For any nation to really make it, your first line of defense is the application of the rule of law. And when you want and you're serious about the application of the rule of law, you need to capacitate your law enforcement agencies.
2,700 officers were added to the ranks of the JMPD. A specialized K9 unit was formed to deal with narcotics and other serious crimes. While arrests for drunken driving were averaging over 1,000 a month by the end of Mashaba's tenure.
He started with Buyamteto. Nobody has ever supported us like the mayor did. The mayor is the only mayor who gave them 4 days on, 4 days off, and danger allowance, because he understood that these people, what they are doing is dangerous.
On the economic front, according to Mashaba, the City of Johannesburg enjoyed a sustained improvement in billing and collections, averaging as much as 3 billion rand in revenue in some months.
I've always been a social activist, but I strongly believe the only way I can become a social activist, I must first make the money.
He has also declared the Johannesburg billing crisis over. This is despite thousands of people still struggling to make head or tail of their electricity and water bills.
The question of fiscal discipline is remarkably important, and the thinking was that somebody who'd been in the private sector, who'd run a successful business, would at least have a much better understanding of that aspect of governance. Whether it translated into better outcomes for the citizens of the City of Johannesburg is something that might take a long time for us to actually analyze.
Mashaba promised to be tough on corruption, and within months of coming to office, established an anti-corruption unit with former Gauteng Hawks head Shadrack Sabir at the helm, investigating over 5,000 cases and uncovering an alleged 44 billion rand in dodgy transactions, something the ANC and analysts contest.
Just prove to us, where is this 44 billion? For me, it's more of PR. We have evidence that he can't substantiate that 44 billion. We asked the AG, here's a report. Can you tell us the veracity of this number? The AG says, I audit the financial statements. I don't audit politics.
He will be remembered by some people as the man who cleaned up corruption, despite the fact that we have lots of digging and building in the city, which seems to serve no purpose other than handing tenders to the people who do the digging and the building.
On the infrastructure front, the M2 highway underwent critical repairs, but was opened on time and within budget after an 8-month closure, something Mashaba attributes to clean and competitive tender processes. And it wasn't the only construction Mashaba dabbled in. His flagship program to bring development to the inner city offered derelict and surplus public buildings to investors. This had mixed results though, with many hijacked buildings being cleaned up and turned into low-cost housing, while others became more neglected, derelict and overcrowded.
You see, sigcwele la, we fully, wow, sigcwele la, uyabona nje.
Leading the inner city's poorest of the poor to believe these policies didn't really affect them.
You see, I'm here. It shows it's a result that it's no change. That is why I'm here.
A big highlight for Mashaba is the almost 3,000 security guards and cleaners that were insourced by the City of Johannesburg during his time in office.
One thing that really gives me great joy and gives me personal satisfaction is the dignity that we've given to our security officers and our cleaners. You know, one can take this to really be a major step, but it's actually more than a major step. I always tell people a month or so after the cleaners were insourced, I bump into a group of them, rush to me, emotional, just showing me a payslip.
Besides the EFF too claiming this as their policy that Mashaba only implemented, the South African Municipal Workers Union argue the outgoing mayor is being disingenuous.
Securities and cleaners that he spoke about, those that he insourced are not being paid the same salary of minimum wage in the sector, which is 7,000. They're not getting that money. They're getting below 4,000.
And that Mashaba has gone out of his way to undermine workers' rights to labour representation in the city.
The municipality still owes the union over 30 million that they must still hand over to the union, which they've deducted from members' salaries. Members, where they are in the City of Johannesburg, they believe that they are members of SAMU because the payslip says so, but the money is not coming to SAMU.
And Herman Mashaba can't be discussed without mentioning his record on xenophobia.
The worrying aspect of his reputation is that it may have been built to a certain extent on his absolutely unremitting hostility to anybody born outside the country, which has really been his stock in trade over the 3 years. And unfortunately, we live in a country where, to be very blunt, saying nasty things about foreigners can be quite popular.
The mayor made many wild allegations about foreign nationals, from labelling them a drain on resources that slows service delivery, to claiming without any verifiable statistics that 80% of residents in hijacked buildings were foreign nationals, something he remains unapologetic about.
Illegal foreign nationals, those who are here for criminal activity. But I've been really very clear about this, that we want people of the world to visit South Africa, but they must visit here legally, and when they're here, they must respect the laws of this country. The same applies to South Africans.
But those on the sharp end of his apparent xenophobic statements say that although Mashaba may be on his way out, the damage is already done.
I'm Tona Blanche. I'm the owner of La Camerounaise. I've been in South Africa since 2004, but I started the business La Camerounaise since 2008. Before Mashaba, this thing of foreigner, we didn't listen to it, but when it came, I don't know, people started talking about foreigner must leave the business, so I don't know, I really don't know. Before, yeah, especially in La Camerounaise, I was serving people from everywhere. Now people are scared to come out because, first of all, they say there's no security anymore, and they say maybe when Mashaba go, things gonna be okay because those ideas that foreigner must go, foreigner must leave the business. I think that after Mashaba, the new person must think about it to make people live together.
With the prospects of a hung council or even an early election, the City of Gold's future is as unclear as Herman Mashaba's.
And fortunately enough, I've got various options I can adopt upon coming back from holiday. Can either be a political commentator because there are no consequences about what I say, or I can go into retirement. I'm over 60, so I qualify for SASSA. Fortunately enough, I've got substantial business interest. I can go back to assist my family looking after our investments, or I don't know what. But one thing for sure is that I will never be lost to public service.
But as he leaves office, don't count him out of politics just yet.
Our country is on the verge of collapse with this high unemployment, this the bad economic the performance, high crime rates, counterfeit goods are being brought into our country, borderless country. So we've got honestly, we've got so much that can destroy this country. And those issues are really very close to my heart that I've got to find a way to be a player in that space in one form or another, be it directly in politics or outside politics. I will never really be lost to really be an active citizen of my country.
His only immediate plans are going to Thailand to unwind and releasing his latest book, Accidental Mayor, in early 2020.